Hey there, I'm back with another video. It is 4:10 p.m. It is July 6th, Sunday afternoon. I just want to come on here and make a video really quick. Now, I've been busy all morning. As everyone knows, I've been trying to put up my website. Now, it is not a difficult thing. I will tell you what it is, mostly me. Just kind of pausing for a second, making sure that I'm using the right wording. I am not somebody who is good with graphic designs, but I am doing the best I can on my own website. And I am, talking about, of course, my other projects. I think I'm trying to make it very clear as to what I'm doing. My objective is to be able to work in an environment that I feel is conducive to my overall well-being, as well as uh, kind of putting the feelers out for converting or changing the new work life. Okay, meaning I do believe that I'm a different person. I work differently than the majority of people, mainly because I'm somebody who looks at myself as a complete professional career package person, meaning I understand certain reasons why I have a certain skill level and I utilize those skill levels each and every day. Okay. And I've taken my job seriously. This is one of the reasons why I was bullied out of my jobs. I would say that when it comes to things like workplace mobbing, one of the indications of a person of being, or one of the things that makes a person get mobbed is being very well good at their job. Um, of course, I'm a victim of human trafficking anyway, and I would say that most people who knew me through uh, my bloodline targeting, this is something that I found out just recently, and I talk about it in my newsletter about how churches have been, highlighting individuals such as me throughout years. This is through the cloning process, having through adoption processes, being adopted through families, being set up in abusive situations, and then, of course, being kind of outcasted in a community. So basically, anything that I would have done, they would have found some sort of issue with it because, according to the church, I was somebody that they wanted to bully at any cost. Okay. So this is how, my life is unfolded. And I've come to understand this. And so now I'm at a point where it's like, okay, I have to stand up for myself because I've been dealt a terrible injustice. And not just me, I mean, many people have, okay? I'm speaking on myself as well as a lot of people who are just coming to understand, putting the pieces together, okay, of who you are. And it is very devastating. It is very devastating, but, I'm somebody who believes in my innocence, of course. And as I've been making all these videos for the last God, since 2015, I've come to find out that this whole root of the issue relates to bloodline targeting. Has a lot to do with me being a clone, of course, as well as the church's assistance with these underground organizations, and then kind of fueling the fire by creating, animosity within the own churches. Okay, this is what really bothers me. Okay, that there was so much hate being fueled in these churches, and the attacks on me. And I will tell you, I think people know that I've been uh, I've changed, meaning I still have the same beliefs, but I now understand, that there is a division in between me and what is outside. I think of it kind of like The Walking Dead. You know how that show, The Walking Dead? Like, think of it like you're the only person who's not brainwashed. And then you kind of have to deal with people around you that have been heavily brainwashed, indoctrinated with an idea and a belief system. Okay. And of course, the environment is dangerous. Just like I would say The Walking Dead is a good example, okay, of you versus them. And I'm not trying to be like somebody who's like us versus them. But in this situation, I think it's kind of understandable that many people were turned against me because they were under the influence of something very dark. Okay, um, I think a lot of it had to do with, not only, was I a burden baby, but I'm a very misunderstood burden baby because of my background as King Solomon, being highly respected and revered in things like the Bible as well as the Quran, and then also you got religions coming together wanting me to side with them. Okay, but not making any sense with the collaboration of different churches. It made no sense. Okay, whatever the case is. Okay, I want to move on from that. Okay, because like I said, I feel as though the conversation at this point is getting really boring, very boring. I am becoming very bored with my life. This is one of the reasons why I feel as though there's so much stagnicity with me just completing this very basic part of my website. Okay, I think what it is because in the back of my mind, I have encountered and only have known people that have wasted my time, people that I have lost respect for, people that I was set up, like, for example, having the fake family, having a relationship with these family, caring about these people, having my heart broken because they're not my family, okay? All of the emotions that, these negative emotions that I had to deal with through this operation, this covert operation that was initiated by Joseph Mengele, obviously had Nazi roots, and yet the church completely fueled, backed it up, and did everything they could to support it. Um, it disturbs me, and I do get the intuitive message, something about, they resented. Of course, King Solomon was a very spiritual person, had special gifts, okay, and because they didn't understand it, they were constantly trying to point me out to be a bad person because they didn't understand it, okay. But yes, okay, when you think about how things originated, everything is created through alchemic measure, meaning things, components that come together to create and formulate things. This is how magic or prayers actually manifest things, okay? And see, I understand what religion has been reduced to is a man made form of a social club, when in reality, religion or the connection to God is something different, okay? I wish this never ever happened, that I was never a target of bloodline targeting, but now I understand that, okay? And I deserve justice. I deserve justice. And I am very disturbed. Very disturbed. And so I have noticed that every single thing that I think about, okay, always relates to this story. Okay, and it's just getting to the point where I feel I can see that it is affecting me mentally. So I always ask myself, okay, what do I need to do to get out of this funk? Now I understand because of what I would consider what was initiated out on me, which would be, I talked about this in my newsletter, the no touch torture. Okay, what they did was they isolated me, they blacklisted me, they shadow banned me. So these things that they put in operation were meant to kill me. I was not supposed to get any support from anybody. I was always supposed to be reliant upon these particular handlers that were trying to, force me into doing what God knows what. Okay. So this has damaged me, okay, and it is designed to do this, okay. Whether they realize it or not, they just probably just want. They might have to say, "Oh, well, we just wanted control over her." The results of them not following the law, breaking the law, deliberately ignoring the law, or either being ignorant of the law, has put me in this situation at 54 years old. Okay, so I am doing what I can to get myself out of it. And I hope that I would be a good example for other targeted individuals who are in this situation. Now, I already talked about things like Indeed.com. Websites are going to be infiltrated with BS job postings, things that you really can't trust or whatever. And I'm just saying is there's got to be alternative to be able to stand out. Okay, I understand what the church did to me was it was just absolutely wicked, especially the fact that they would send these fake job interviews, have people sit here and mock me. I'm going to tell you this, the energy behind this is very dark, very dark. Okay, so I understand throughout these years many people have believed that the church was right to do this because they are the church, they're a big institution, there's several people, all of these people, and there's only one Maria Gordon. Well, let me tell you something, this is exactly what the Bible talked about. People who had the majority of people going off into this deep end because everybody is feeling this comfort of the group mentality. Now, I don't want to go into biblical stuff, and I do not want to talk about this all the time because like I said, I am tired of talking about it. Like, okay, so this is one of the reasons why I feel stagnated on my website, because what I want, all I've been around were dishonest people. I've only been around people who've abused me. very warped minded, sick people. Because the reason why it was warped was because they had their intention was to win a game that I had no intention of playing, nor was I even aware of. Okay, so think about this: me leaving Murray Family Farms, all those years, I could have gotten on with my life. Okay, so they dragged me down another 12 years. Okay, consistently messing up with my jobs, creating more issues, bullying me more, trying to make me submit to this and all this other stuff. Okay, I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm just telling you how run down I am over the same subject matter over and over again. And for the last 12 years, it's just been a nightmare. Okay, a nightmare that I did not deserve nor ask for. Okay, so now I am pulling myself and doing what I can to pull myself out. And I've also discovered this as being a very big human trafficking ring. I also discovered that this relates to the whole the burden baby story, and what all these kids that, I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of dead people coming around right now. But what I'm saying is that there's a lot of, mystery surrounding these adopted relatives that people tend to have no regard for. But in often cases, these burden babies were the very foundation of everything that these people owned. Okay, just like my family never had any respect for me, but if it wasn't for my father, taking me in, we would not have gotten opportunities. This is unfortunate because in many ways it shortchanges a person, because my father was a very brilliant man, and yes, my father deserved his position, and yes, he deserved to go even further than he was. Okay, he too was an autodidact, and this is something I'm proud of. Now, I will tell you, when I first, uh, got here in this community, I really just felt like, okay, I worked somewhere 4 years. I just wanted to build on that. I knew I didn't have a whole lot. You know what I mean? I knew life was a nightmare in Lancaster. I wanted to try over in just another little community. I figured I would just have a decent life, and then all of a sudden I've come to start realizing that there's these repeated patterns all the time. People wanting to compete with me, trying to make me feel like I'm less than. Let me tell you something. These people have been after me my entire life. And one of the things that I'm excited about talking about, and sharing my experiences on my website is, I briefly go into it. Okay, I don't want to take too much time or space on it, but I'm trying to talk to people about bullying. Okay, it's not just the education, the understanding of certain curriculums. Okay, but talking about behaviors. Okay, some of these people that I was bullied at in the workplace were the same kids who were bullying me on the playground. Okay, there is an addiction to people who feel the need, they have a need, okay, to bully, to get their narcissistic supply. And they will continually do this year after year after year. And I'm somebody who understands things more than most people have, because I've experienced so much injustice. Okay, unusual amounts of injustice. Okay, and as I come to put this together and found out I was a victim of bloodline targeting, I was reluctant to talk about this issue. Okay, like explaining it, but I come to find out that people understood what bird babies were. They may not have used my term of bird babies, but yes, they know what they're talking about. I was recognized as one of those kids, and I'm looking back now, and I'm starting to remember how people would say things to me when I was a kid, or people would just go into their stories or try to tell me a little bit about themselves, hoping that they were trying to convey a message that they felt they were not able to just come right out and talk about. And the reason why is because this has been a very covert message that everybody was kind of in their own way trained to keep secret, to protect the church. Now, I don't want to go into the church over and over again, okay? But my point is, you notice that I'm always going back into the same conversation, that is not good for a person's mental well being. Okay, and there's times where you have to put a stop to it. It's like, I understand what happened to me was meant to destroy every aspect of my life. I will tell you that it did. Okay, so this is the reason why I have the same goddamn conversation that goes through my head in some way. I'm either thinking about how my family was fake, okay, or I'm thinking about how I'm 54 years old and did everything I possibly could to have a better life, and I'm still here, which all relates back to, goes all the way back to the whole bloodline targeting thing. Okay, so I got tired of it. Okay, so I went out. Now I know that see, these people were so trying to grab so much control over me. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, freedom is important. Okay, I'm not saying that we have to be freedom to where we're doing outrageous things. Okay, but their intrusion. Okay, is I am somebody who has been chased my entire life. You know, gossiped about, plotted against, done everything. People have done everything you could possibly imagine because to my bloodline. And I'm going to tell you one thing: you can never make me ashamed of my bloodline. I have come from Egyptian roots. I am proud of who I am. Proud of who I am. I'm King Solomon. I am the clone of King Solomon. I could not be any more proud. I'm proud of it. Okay, but that doesn't mean that I'm sitting here looking down on people. See, but people projected their feelings. They knew who King Solomon was. They knew that King Solomon has a very powerful. Some people revere him as a deity. Okay, some people believe that he's the same person who was Jesus, and I'm starting to think that perhaps maybe there was different characters. Perhaps maybe I was different people in the Bible, and that the whole Bible could be about me. I don't know. Okay, but this has been a cover up for a very long time, which is a good example of talking about how the education system prevents people from fully getting a full grasp of education, the roots of things, okay, to understand things. Like the very fact that I'm hush hush, you know what I mean, is an indication and an admittance of people who manipulate stories or whatever. You know what I mean? And I do understand that, I've been getting into it in messages that I've been being covered on the news, stuff like that. But still, my point is that a lot of this was covert. A lot of it had to do with them exploiting me. Okay, thinking that my situation was funny. Okay, and this is some of the disregard that you get as somebody who was unfortunately a burden baby. Okay, there's a very inhumane, very sick, very twisted kind of mentality with these people. Okay, but I do understand it, and I'm definitely going to stand up for myself. One moment. Okay, so I'm sorry about that. My phone was ringing. It was probably the internet company wanting me to pay the bill. Yes, I will pay the bill. Okay, but anyway, uh, so I was going back into how I was dealing with being bullied, with how people reporting on what I was buying, and so this is not me trying to create a problem, but I'm trying to give you an example. Okay, everybody has their own specific needs of how they take care of themselves. I would say I'm a special needs person. No, I'm not mentally ill or anything like that. But I am somebody who was a burden child, a burden baby, or whatever. Okay, so this is what has left me or put me in this sort of situation. Okay, I have no one I can contact. Now I'm very grateful that my son is here. I am very grateful. Okay, but I don't have anyone I can call to protect me. I don't have anybody that is watching out for me. Okay, I am the only person that I have. Okay. Meanwhile, yes, it is my responsibility as a parent, for my desire for my child to have the best life he possibly can. Now, I am not somebody who has ever tried to manipulate or try to get people to take care of me. I've always stood on my own. Okay, but I felt as though the people who are involved in this operation has stepped over the line, okay, with their need to control. I had mentioned that we have freedom of religion here, okay? We have freedom in the religion in the United States, okay? And, I realize that I am tired of thinking about the same things. I'll go out, I'll go to the store, right? And then I get pissed off because after I leave the store, I keep thinking, I got tired. I'm resentful of the fact that people were sitting here like sharing my information and trying to work behind the scenes to try to bully me to change my life and report on me. Let me tell you something. I don't go to doctors, okay? I talked about this before. I don't go to doctors since the 90s, okay? Actually, that's not true. I did go to the doctor sometime in 2011. Okay, that was the last time I went to the doctor. I will never go back to a doctor again, okay? I've come to realize of, how the infiltration and how vigilantes work, okay? So instead of me going to the doctor, if I find something, I work with my own body. I heal my own self. Okay, I don't rely on anybody for anything. I am 100% self-sufficient. Yes, there has been times where I've actually operated on my own body. Okay, I've had some problems with my foot. I was willing to cut open my own foot and do what I needed to do. Okay, I am somebody who has no choice but to take care of myself. Okay, I am 100% self-sufficient. So I don't understand the mentality of people who want to be overly needy and grab onto me and exploit me for stuff because they're not able to handle things on their own. Okay. I'm not going for that. Okay. And I had mentioned, my frustration on that issue before. Okay. But what I was trying to get at is that, because of me having to be someone who's self-sufficient, and somebody who has to take care of themselves and watch out for my own back. Okay, and instead of going to the doctor, I have my own way of eating. Okay, and I know that they were sitting here talking about that. Oh, she's doing this, and she just said, yes, I do believe in taking care of my health through what I eat. Okay, if you have things like certain things like you're worried about a certain disease, yes, I cure my body. I cure my own body. I have read books on medicine. I have read books on taking care of the anatomy, so I figure it out. Okay, yeah. So people don't understand what it's like to be a targeted individual. Meaning, I cannot trust other people. Okay, when it comes to me, every once in a while, I'll go out and have something to eat. Okay, if I go somewhere to eat, then I usually go to places that I can see where they can prepare the food. Okay, I don't trust people to not poison me. I don't trust anybody. Okay, so this is what this has done to my life. Okay, and so then I had people like reporting things that what I buy. There's things that I buy because it makes sense to buy. I get angry that, and I'm going to tell you something. Do not ever try to make me justify what I buy. Now I'm going to tell you what I just recently bought. Okay, because I'm so tired of talking about and thinking about the same old thing over and over and over again. It has something to do with even something as cute and enjoyable as Elon Musk, okay? Somehow, though, as much as I think he's so cute, when you really go down to it, it all comes right back down to the whole exploitation of being a burden baby. It comes back to the abuse, the years of abuse, the struggle, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so then you know what? Then I go off again. So there's times where you just need a little bit of um, I don't know, something a little silly. You know what I mean? And so I've been, for the last few weeks, I've been going to Walmart, standing in the line, and I've been noticing this particular magazine. Okay. I saw this Mad magazine. It's this is 80s edition. And I had mentioned this before. When I was little, I used to love Mad magazine. I've been buying Mad magazine since I was getting earning allowance. Okay. And I remember looking at the cover of this Mad magazine, this 80s, like the spoof. It's called Mad Spoofs of the 80s. And I've been seeing it and I've been thinking, okay, I know that these people are going to sit here and monitor my stuff. I don't trust them. They're going to sit here and report that I spent $14 on a magazine. Let me tell you something. I need to have some sort of enjoyment. So if you are unemployed or you're doing something, you need to find something that you do enjoy. Now, here's some of the things I used to do in the past when I wasn't working. Okay, I remember I would go to the park and prepare a picnic for myself. I would have a picnic for myself. Like I used to even have a picnic basket. It was actually quite pleasant. You know what I mean? Find some sort of hobby to do. Go to the dollar store. Do some arts and crafts or something. Do not let yourself sit and dwell on the same thing over and over and over again. Okay, and so this is why I talk about minding your own business because while I'm sitting here trying to comfort and do things for my own good, okay, just fitting maybe at $14 because I can feel a little bit better and think about something different because I'm going to tell you what this whole subject matter is killing me. Okay, so I don't need people sitting here saying, "Oh, she sat there and she bought this, she bought that." Yeah, I did. You know why? Because I'm tired of the same thing, and the only thing I have is something different. This is the only thing I have that's different, and I'm going to get it. Okay. I mean, the pettiness of people. Okay, and I know I didn't mean to go off, but like I said, I am filled with nothing but the same conversation. Okay, and it's not good. It's not good. Okay. So these people do a lot of damage, and they do a lot of damage because they are ignorant. And so this is one of the just one of the many reasons why I am talking about this. One of the last things I'm talking about are my future projects on my website, and I wish I had more enthusiasm for meeting people because, like I said, I've only known abusive people. I am looking for people who are like me. I am 54 years old. I have been a victim of human trafficking for many years. Okay, while I was working at Murray Family Farms, I was like, oh my God, I'm in my 40s. I have nothing saved up for retirement. Oh my God. Yes, I have been thinking about my future. People think that I am just somebody who just I have no thoughts of the future. Like I just have my head in the clouds all the time. That is the biggest mistake. Okay, yes, I have made plans. I needed to strategize my future. Yes, of course. So I had no way of retiring, and then they tossed my life up in the air with their foolishness. You know what I mean? So now I'm like, okay, now what? Now what? Okay, so I'm taking my new beginning seriously, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I really need to find people that are on my level who understand. Not, I mean, they don't have to be older than like me in my age group, but it would be cool if I found people who wanted to. How can I say this? People who have higher standards, okay? People who have higher standards, okay? Who really want to get the best out of life, who really want to, who look at the work life, this whole idea of work life balance, and they realize it's not working, okay? People who want to go and work on these new experimental type ideas that I'm talking about, okay? Now, like I said, I have my own, I'm opening my own business, right? But who's to say in the future I might end up collaborating with somebody, they might have me work at their place, and then I get on board with what they're doing, or what we can join forces or whatever. Right now, because I have to keep my options open. But I'm telling you right now, I am 100% committed into what I'm calling the new earth workplace. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm looking for people who are on the same level. Okay, people who are women of substance, men of substance, people who want to move up and up the ante a little bit. And like I said, I've only dealt with like abusive, traumatizing situations. I've been dealing with the wrong type group, obviously, and it has mentally affected me. And I need to find my tribe. Okay, I need to find my tribe. Okay, so I know a lot of people are talking about the burden babies. Sorry, the baby meals. I had mentioned this feeling or this belief that I had about Siobhan Zillis being associated with this. And I'm not trying to highlight her or anything or try to shame her, okay? We are in a situation where we're isolated, we're shadow banned. We don't get, the kind of coverage, or I don't have confirmation of the coverage. Even though I get it intuitively, I am not somebody who's getting interviewed by the press or anything like that, okay? They try to keep this issue kind of where it's kind of hidden, but I'm not really a part of it. And this is one of the damaging things that they've done to me, okay? Which is wrong, okay? This is another reason that can cause people to have a lot of mental problems, because by doing this, it's not funny to play the sort of mental games, okay? But I am aware of what's going on, okay? And what I do understand is that, a lot of people got used in this issue of trying to, increase the population. And like I said, I understand that the white race wants to increase their population. I fully understand that, okay? But there's got to be a better ethical way of doing so. This is what I'm saying, okay? And I'm not, it's none of my business, okay? But I am a burden baby. I'm not a white burden baby, but I am a burden baby. And I do understand that, we get put in situations that are not the best, okay? And sometimes it's just not the most humane way of raising people. I would say raising a kid, not telling them what their roots are, and then having people bully them their entire life and blame them for things, and nitpick them apart, their natural, what's in their natural DNA, try to make them feel ashamed for who they are. And they're like, what? I don't even know what you're talking about. This kind of stuff, it should not happen. Okay, if you can't bring people here in this world and give them a humane upbringing and give them some sort of guarantee that they're not going to be abused, then you need to not do it. Okay, but if you're able to do that, hey, by all means, okay. But they should not be exploited, and this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm going after. Okay, I'm tired of people walking around this earth who thinks it's okay to sit here and slave out other people. You know what I mean? Or openly abuse other people, or target other people. Or genocide. That's exactly what it is. Okay, it's a genocide, and so this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. That's what it is. Okay, it's not a game. So, like I said, I'm tired of talking about it, but you'll hear that I'll keep saying I'm going to change the subject. I have nothing else to talk about in my life. So, I need to create new experiences, and I need to create these new experiences with people who are not like the people that I knew in my trafficking ring. Okay, and I just get very upset about the entire thing when I think about it, because it's like I need a new change. Yes, I hope that I get to spend some time with Elon Musk. But right now, like I've said, my foundation, I need to make sure that I have my ducks in a row. Meaning, like, I need to make sure that my what I'm doing to try to make a living is I can see what's going on. Like I need to see improvements on that situation before I can even think about getting to Elon. My main goal right now is to get to Lancaster. And then hopefully, whatever happens, either Elon, I'll send for Elon, or Elon, I'll send out for him, or whatever, however that works. Okay. I don't know. Okay. But right now, I need to be focused on, what I'm doing for my business, whatever. Okay. And yeah, it is. It's the reason why I feel stagnated is because all I know is I've dealt with stuff and people that literally left me traumatized, disturbed, okay, possibly for the rest of my life, okay. So I'm reluctant to have to encounter people because somewhere in the back of my mind, I feel like everybody's like them, okay. Because if they can convince other people to participate in it, what else am I supposed to think? I'm disturbed, okay. I'm very disturbed. But yes, I think the issue relating to the burden babies is a good example of what we're talking about. We're talking about Nazis. We're talking about, and like I said, I get it. I'm not trying to um, focus in on the white race and they're the good, whether it's an issue relating to it's good or bad. I'm just saying is like when it comes to burden babies and human trafficking and all that sort of stuff, I really, I'm somebody who is dead set against human slavery. And that's what it is. It's human slavery. Okay, and I had mentioned a few months ago that I'm somebody who wants to shut it down. Shut it down in every form of it. The labor trafficking, the child trafficking, the sex all of it. It just needs to go. You know what I mean? And I know what it is. It's slavery, and it's huge. Okay, and a lot of people have been participating in it, thinking it's funny, thinking it's cute. And a lot of these people are what they call college educated people who are the main perpetrators of it. They're the main perpetrators of it. Why? It's because they're on this ego trip trying to prove that they're better than somebody else. And this is what I'm talking about, okay? This is exactly what I'm talking about. I see what these people do, and I understand they went the wrong way, okay? I have no interest in being anything like that. Okay, but I do want to be around real professional people who care about their products and services, who have a vision of increasing, their income within the company so that they can expand, so that everybody can feel either it's going to happen through my company, I'm helping somebody else build their company, or whatever. It's just like we need to leave this whole garbage of this idea of, this idea of the control corporate mindset behind, because it's making people miserable, and it has literally disturbed me. I can tell you firsthand, it has disturbed me. I mean, like literally. Okay, so this is one of the reasons why Maria got herself the mad spoofs of the 80s, and then I'm going to be like really enjoying that on my free time. Okay, but anyway, I am teaching people about soul transition. A lot of people are interested in understanding how our soul is actually infinite, and they are impressed by the fact that I have beat out college students. Yeah, I was trying to tell people that before, for many years since I opened this channel back in 2015, and it's like I said, I did not want to sit here and be in a competition, but I know that they pushed me, and they kept pushing me, and they kept pushing me, and now I'm getting very emotional when I think about this, because I am 54 years old, and I am sitting here trying to figure out, uh, how to be my bubbly enthusiastic self when I feel like I just don't want to bump into people like that ever again. And I get the intuitive message that a lot of those people are dead. You know what I mean? And unfortunately it had to be that way because um, they were sending too many people against me. Okay. It was an unfair fight in the first place, and I do believe that this is something that the divine forces took over, and it was just like, no, can't happen. So anyway, I'm supposed to have a good summer. I hope to spend that summer. I mean, it's already July. Okay, I really want to spend time with Elon, but we'll see how things go. I wanted to have my website up on Thursday. That did not happen. I'm trying really hard. It's like I am so turned off by what I had to experience with these kind of people. I am so turned off by what I had to experience with this sort of people that it's like, I think my biggest fear is having to, to deal with that sort of unprofessionalism again. You know what I mean? I don't ever want to have to deal with something like that again. You know what I mean? And I think this is why I'm reluctant to it. Because everybody knows, I've always been really enthusiastic about my work. I have, whatever it is I do, I throw myself into it. But it's just the fact that, um, that was definitely evil. Okay, that was definitely evil. What else do I want to say really quick? Okay, a lot of women support my view of taking care of themselves. A lot of women support that. I don't know what the church is going to do. That's up to the church, I guess. But, I personally feel as though that this is something that, is an underlying cause of the unhappiness that goes on with people. It's the arranged marriages. It's the forcing people to, dedicate their lives to something that does not resonate with them. In this case, I'm the I'm King Solomon. Okay, I'm like the clone of King Solomon. There are certain things that just do not resonate with me, and yet they expect you to do things. And see, I had talked about this issue that I had with, or my suspicions that it was something deeper. Like, some people, some races do not have the ability to have any empathy. So, this is one of the reasons why I created the alien deck, which I hope you guys really are enjoying that. You know what I mean? Because I kept thinking, I understand there's certain people who do not have empathy. They just do not, okay? Because I cannot understand how somebody could think it's okay to sit here and badger a little kid or someone who could abuse a child, over and over and over again and just think that it's nothing, and then encourage other people to do it and then get off on it, okay? Yeah, I think I dealt with a lot of sick people, okay? What else? I think that's about it. I hope you guys did like the alien spread. I do know that a lot of people are taking my projects seriously, and I'm looking forward to getting back to what I was doing. Like I said, right now I have to, put my project of like the moral reset and all that stuff. It has to be kind of shelved for right now because I have to sit here and figure out, how I'm going to get my business off the ground. Okay. I do get the intuitive message that people are accepting of my desk art, which I think is silly, but that's good. And then also, people believe that they believe in my story. A lot of people have been following my story, so it kind of unwound and opened up in front of them. Also, they do believe that my skills are proven. They have noticed that a lot of people who've been following my story has recognized the fact that I'm the real deal, okay? Because some people have been watching my videos since 2015, and they have known about me being a burden baby pretty, longer than I have, okay? So they know this whole story, okay? And I'm glad that it unfolded in front of everyone. Also, I get the intuitive message that, I am free to date Elon Musk. And I would love to go out with him and spend some time with him. I really like to spend the summer with him, really. But like I said, I've got things to do. And it's not because I don't want to spend time with Elon Musk. I do. It's just that right now it's like first things first. And that's not to say that, being with him or hanging out with him is not, it's probably more fun than sitting here like setting up a website and then trying to like, get customers and creating blogs and all this other stuff. I would say that hanging out with Elon Musk would be 10 times more fun. But unfortunately, I have to take care of business first before I do that. But I'm hoping that, he'll meet up with me here in California and we can just kind of hang out and do some cool stuff together. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. And, I have not actually read this yet. I just been flipping through it at the store. Tonight I'm looking forward to just like, after I get done with the dishes and in my pajamas and I don't want to think about anything else, I'm looking forward to delving into this magazine, okay? Because I remember when I was a kid, I used to love looking at Mad Magazine. I used to love like they used to spoof on like some of the TV shows that I used to watch or some of the political issues that were going on at the time. And I used to always think that this was one of the fun things to enjoy. And I used to like watching Dr. Demento and stuff like that too. See, I understand that, this group that was targeting me, they didn't understand that you can be intelligent and then also have a sense of humor at the same time. See, this is very strange. Okay, but I understand that these people were very, very focused on, like, status and stuff like this and image and all this other stuff. But I would say, to be a complete and whole person, yeah, you have your ups, you have your downs. You're able to show all forms of emotion and expression. And sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're in the mood for something serious, and sometimes you have to step away from something serious. And I would say absurd humor is one of the best things to use to escape, to get back to trying to feel better, especially when something is really heavy on your mind, like this targeting thing. This issue is just too much on me sometimes, okay? And also, I got the intuitive message earlier about, me and my little baby doll friend. That would be Cabby over here. He's hiding over there by the pillow. Yeah, see, thing is, people have it in their. I talked about dose. I'm talking about it in the um, laying the foundation, talking about some of these chemicals, brain chemicals that we need. And I would say that Cabby is my form of oxytocin. That's one of, they call it the love hormone, and there's different forms of love. I would say that I look at things and I think that they're cute, and you know how, like, sometimes, like, some people like things like Hello Kitty, or what they call kawaii type things, because it kind of invokes this feeling like, oh, it's so cute. Okay, I love that feeling. Okay, and it also, it satisfies you. And I'm an older woman. I do not have any babies that are that small. Okay, and at this age, I'm not cranking them out either. Okay, and that's a wise decision at this age. Okay, my son has not produced any grandchildren, and given the fact that we struggle a lot because other people like to throw wrenches in our plans. I don't think it's a good idea for us to go out, and my son to go out and have any grandchildren for me. So I would say my baby doll is the next best thing, and I would say that he gives me the self, or helps me with my self love issues. And I am not crazy. I am not mentally ill. I am fully aware that I am a 54-year-old woman who sometimes sits there and spends times with my baby doll. Okay, but you know what? There are times in my situation where I'm around people that I cannot trust. I am somebody who has to take care of myself, and it's a logical solution to that problem. I think a lot of people remember the movie. I forgot the Tom Hanks movie, but I think you know what I'm talking about. How he had that little ball friend Wilson. It's pretty much the same thing. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah, I am totally sane. There's nothing wrong with me. I think the little quirky things that I do has prevented me from going insane. Okay. And I think this is where a lot of people get mixed up, what's going on in mainstream psychology and what other people, researchers, are willing to talk about. Okay. I understand that there's a lot of things that get influenced in certain sectors. Okay. And I talked about, vigilantes and people who have certain, whether it be political agendas, religious agendas, how these sort of things get stuck in our minds, or how we kind of paint things out a certain way. Okay, so anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up this video. Is there anything else I want to say? I think that's it. Oh, I'm glad that people understand the whole thing about bloodline targeting and the burden babies. Okay, I'm I'm glad I found that out. Okay, I'm glad I unraveled that. I needed that. Okay, but I will tell you, had it been up to the church would have allowed me to carry that burden, that mental burden. Okay, and they would have allowed me. They wanted me to carry that burden. They sat there fully encouraging other people to let that hurt me, burden me, and not for me to have any sort of closure. Okay, so yes, I was very unhappy with what the church did. Okay, and like I said, I'm tired of talking about it, so I'm going to delve into my Mad magazine. I'm also, I don't want to spend any more money on my escape from realism, but I'm going to definitely have to do that for my own mental well-being. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a lot of arts and crafts this week. I plan on maybe even bringing out my sewing machine. I might be doing something to get my mind off of this. Okay, and I would suggest this for anybody because it's the healthiest thing to do. Okay, you can't sit here and dwell on the same thing over and over again. And when other people start to, interfere, telling you can't go outside, telling you can't have friends, telling you, blocking you and stuff like this, let me tell you, your little isolation game is more than harmful. Okay, it's dangerous. Okay, but you know what? Because you do this, then I have my right to sit here and find out and do other alternatives. And that's what I'm doing. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and let this eat me up alive. Okay. So anyway, I think I said just about everything I need to say. I'm going to wrap up this video. If Elon Musk is watching this video, take care and happy belated birthday. Take care. Bye-bye.